Hey guys, it's Misty from the Book Rat, and it's time for another excerpt. So I got this cool package in the mail, and I thought it was perfect timing considering that I'm recording excerpts today, so I'm gonna go ahead and share this one with you. When I opened it up, it was all wrapped up in some twine, and it came with a little bag of salt and a note that says protect yourself. And the book is Unbreakable by Kami Garcia. This is the first book in the Legion series. It is a sort of ghostly, demonic, paranormal story coming out in October from Little Brown. And I'm gonna start right at the beginning. As my bare feet sank into the wet earth, I tried not to think about the dead bodies buried beneath me. I had passed this tiny graveyard a handful of times, but never at night, and always outside the boundaries of the peeling iron gates. I would have given anything to be standing outside them now. In the moonlight, rows of weathered headstones exposed the neat stretch of lawn for what it truly was, the grassy lid of an enormous coffin. A branch snapped and I spun around. Elvis? I searched for a trace of my cat's gray and white ringed tail. Elvis never ran away, usually content to thread his way between my ankles whenever I opened the door. Until tonight. He took off so fast that I didn't even have time to grab my shoes, and I had chased him 8 blocks until I ended up here. I heard muffled voices and froze, listening. A girl wearing blue and gray Georgetown University sweats passed under the pale glow of the lamppost on the other side of the gates. Her friends caught up with her, laughing and stumbling down the sidewalk. They reached one of the academic buildings and disappeared inside. It was easy to forget that the cemetery was in the middle of a college campus, especially when I walked deeper into the uneven rows. The lampposts vanished behind the trees, and the clouds plunged the graveyard in and out of shadow. Something moved in my peripheral vision, a flash of white. I ignored the whispers in the back of my mind urging me to go home. Instead, I scanned the stones, now completely bathed in black. Come on, Elvis, where are you? Nothing scared me more than the dark. I liked to see what was coming, and darkness was a place where things could hide. Think about something else. The memory closed in before I could stop it, my mother's face hovering above mine as I blinked myself awake. The panic in her eyes as she pressed a finger over her lips, signaling me to be quiet. The cold floor against my feet as we made our way to her closet, where she pushed aside the dresses to reveal a notch in the wood. Someone's in the house, she whispered, pulling a board away from the wall to reveal a small opening. Stay here until I come back. Don't make a sound. I squeezed inside as she worked the board back in place. I had never experienced absolute darkness like that before. I stared at a spot inches in front of me, where my palm rested on the board, but I couldn't see it. I closed my eyes against the darkness. There were sounds, the stairs creaking, furniture scraping against the floor, muffled voices, and one thought replaying over and over in my mind. What if she doesn't come back? Too terrified to see if I could get out from the inside, I kept my hand on the wood. I listened to my ragged breathing, convinced that whoever was in the house could hear it too. Eventually, the wood gave beneath my palm, and a thin stream of light flooded the space. My mom reached for me, promising the intruders had fled. As she carried me out of her closet, I couldn't hear anything beyond the pounding of my heart, and I couldn't think about anything except the crushing weight of the dark. I was only 5 when it happened, but I still remembered every minute in the crawl space. It made the air around me now feel suffocating. Part of me wanted to go home, with or without my cat. Elvis, get out here! Something shifted between the chipped headstones in front of me. Elvis? A silhouette emerged from behind a stone cross. I jumped, a tiny gasp escaping my lips. Sorry, my voice wavered. I'm looking for my cat. The stranger didn't say a word. Sounds intensified at a dizzying rate. Branches breaking, leaves rustling, my pulse throbbing. I thought about the hundreds of unsolved crime shows I'd watched with my mom that started out exactly like this. A girl standing alone somewhere she shouldn't be, staring at the guy who was about to attack her. I stepped back, thick mud pushing up around my ankles like a hand rooting me to the spot. Please don't hurt me. The wind cut through the graveyard, lifting tangles of long hair off the stranger's shoulders and the thin fabric of a white dress from her legs. Her legs. Relief washed over me. Have you seen a gray and white Siamese cat? I'm gonna kill him when I find him. Silence. Her dress caught the moonlight, and I realized it wasn't a dress at all. She was wearing a nightgown. Who wandered around a cemetery in their nightgown? Someone crazy. or someone sleepwalking. You aren't supposed to wake a sleepwalker, but I couldn't leave her out here alone at night either. Hey, can you hear me? The girl didn't move, gazing at me as if she could see my features in the darkness. An empty feeling unfolded in the pit of my stomach. I wanted to look at something else, anything but her unnerving stare. My eyes drifted down to the base of the cross. The girl's feet were as bare as mine, and it looked like they weren't touching the ground. I blinked hard, unwilling to consider the other possibility. It had to be an effect of the moonlight and the shadows. I glanced at my own feet, caked in mud, and back to hers. They were pale and spotless. A flash of white fur darted in front of me and rushed toward me. Elvis! I grabbed him before he could get away again. He hissed at me, clawing and twisting violently. I dropped him, my heart hammering in my chest as he darted across the grass and squeezed under the gate. I looked back at the stone cross. The girl was gone, the ground nothing but a smooth, untouched layer of mud. Blood from the scratches trailed down my arm as I crossed the graveyard, trying to reason away the girl in the white nightgown, silently reminding myself that I didn't believe in ghosts. So that's from Unbreakable by Kami Garcia, which comes out in October from Little Brown. All of the info about the book, as well as links to where you can find it, are in the info, so make sure to check that out. And until next time, happy reading!